My first critique is that this entire story isn't really being told. You know, a big focus in the debate has been on, you know, who's crossing the border and whether or not they have the proper documentation to do so. Very little about why they're coming here in the first place. My other critique of the way politicians have been talking about immigration is that there is really harsh rhetoric, really from both sides of the aisle, coming at immigrants to the point where many Latino residents, documented or not, are being seen as criminal or being seen as being potentially undocumented. And this has really harmful on-the-ground kind of effects. So I think that's my biggest critique of the way the debate has gone so far, is that they're not talking about exploitation, they're not talking about the economic realities of this, and they're not talking about, no one's willing to really step up and challenge the criminalization narrative. People get a lot of their information from the media. And so when these same debates are getting repeated over and over and over again, they're being, you know, kind of jackhammered into our consciousness. What we're finding is that these debates, this issue of immigrant illegality has become so pervasive to the point that when you ask an ordinary citizen about the issue of immigration, this is kind of what they talk about. I think the way forward, I mean, I think what we should be thinking about as we move forward is kind of forming these class-based alliances that are really going to challenge some of these narratives and some of these practices, that are going to challenge exploitation, that are going to challenge the criminalization of immigrants. I think that's really the way forward, is more of a grassroots kind of thing. I mean, comprehensive immigration reform is needed, and it's something that's important, but given the current state of our political system, I'm not optimistic, number one, of it getting passed, and number two, of if it does get passed, of it, you know, being fruitful or really actually creating real change in our immigration system. We don't want to get to the point where we're using immigrants as kind of a redevelopment ploy. We don't want to get to the point where bringing in immigrants is going to help us as a community. If immigrants are going to arrive, that's great, but we need to help them as well, and we need to have concerted efforts to help them. We don't want to pass pro-immigrant legislation just in order to make our you know, predominantly white communities look like these cosmopolitan hotspots that are going to attract creative entrepreneurs. You know, we need to really make sure that this is a genuine effort that immigrants themselves are involved in, a genuine effort that's really happening from the ground up.